Welcome to True Crime Questions with me. This episode is going to be a bit different, so make sure to watch the video until the end. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a neurological condition characterized by challenges in social interaction, communication, and repetitive behaviors. It's a spectrum, meaning symptoms and severity vary widely among individuals.
Enter Brian Kohberger, a 30-year-old former criminology PhD student, now the poster child for guilty until proven innocent. His crime? Allegedly murdering 4 University of Idaho students in November 2022. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Picture this, the Ada County Courthouse, where justice is supposedly blind. But is it also deaf to the nuances of neurodiversity? Much has been made of Kohberger's piercing stare and emotionless demeanor. The prosecution paints this as the look of a cold-blooded killer. But hold on, could it be that these are simply traits of someone on the autism spectrum?
We've provided you several charts that illustrate various behavioral patterns, highlighting the differences between suspicious behaviors and behaviors associated with autism. Kohberger's demeanor, his lack of eye contact and subdued expressions, has been scrutinized. Adults with autism may exhibit behaviors such as avoiding eye contact, difficulty interpreting social cues, and a preference for routines. These traits can be misunderstood, especially in high-stakes environments like a courtroom.
Media outlets have had a field day dissecting Kohberger's every move, or lack thereof. But isn't it possible that his behavior is being misinterpreted through a neurotypical lens?
However, these behaviors align with common ASD characteristics and shouldn't be misconstrued as indicators of guilt.
How does media sensationalism contribute to the public's misunderstanding of autism in the context of criminal behavior?
Statistics show that approximately 79% of adults with autism can live independently to some degree. However, independence doesn't equate to an understanding of complex social situations or consequences. Despite academic achievements, individuals with autism may struggle with abstract concepts like the consequences of certain actions, especially under stress.
Now, imagine being a juror, unaware of autism's intricacies, observing Kohberger's demeanor. Would you misinterpret his lack of emotion as a sign of guilt? The defense fears so, and frankly, they have a point. Is Kohberger's piercing stare a symptom of his autism rather than an indicator of guilt? During the April 9th hearing, the defense argued that Kohberger's autism diagnosis should be considered a mitigating factor, potentially barring the death penalty. The judge ruled that while the diagnosis can't be used as an aggravating factor by the prosecution, the defense is permitted to present it to explain Kohberger's demeanor. A small victory, but is it enough?
If a person with autism is allegedly involved in a crime, they must consider that in their communication with them, adjusting accordingly. Specifically, they must ensure the autistic person understands the judicial system, the situation at hand, and the court process. Enlisting an autism expert to help guide the process would be beneficial to both the person and those involved in the judicial matters. If an attorney, judge, or victims' rights advocate is assigned a case involving someone with autism, it is critical that these professionals have fundamental knowledge about autism spectrum disorder for the person on the spectrum to get fair and appropriate treatment. This knowledge must extend beyond the basic facts. It must involve an extensive understanding of the characteristics of autism in the person involved. What do you think about this situation? Drop a comment below. The diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, autism, autism spectrum disorder, pervasive developmental disorders, Asperger's syndrome and related disorders, is always relevant and needs to be explained to police and legal personnel. What training should legal professionals receive regarding neurodiversity, including autism spectrum disorder? Should this include the judge, lawyers, paralegals, and any other relevant staff? Now, let's ask some critical questions. How can the legal system better accommodate individuals with autism? How can we ensure fair trials for all, regardless of neurological differences? Here's a resource if you are a person on the autism spectrum or you know someone who is. This may aid law enforcement in better understanding the person. Take a moment and screenshot it if needed.
What safeguards can be implemented to ensure fair treatment of autistic individuals in the courtroom?
A diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder is relevant to police and legal proceedings, no matter how bright, high functioning, and/or verbal the person may be. A diagnosis of ASD means that the person does have a developmental disability if criteria for developmental disability are met, even if there is no cognitive impairment. If a person with ASD is involved in legal or police matters, others who know the person well need to quickly provide information about how the person thinks, communicates, interacts, and understands others. This situation highlights why Brian needs his family more than ever, right now. However, the reality is that they haven't been able to be present for him in over 2 years, and it sounds like it has not been by their choice. Given his autism, how has this absence affected him during this period? These are crucial moments when individuals like him require support the most. Yet, there have been little to no fundraisers to assist his family in being there for him during the trial. So, guess that should be the why. Maybe one has been created, but we are just not aware of it. Moreover, it remains unclear if they will even have the opportunity to attend. However, they may be called to attend, so the possibility does exist.
This brings us to a broader issue. How does the criminal justice system accommodate individuals with autism? Spoiler alert, it often doesn't.
The criminal justice system often lacks the tools to accommodate neurodiverse individuals, leading to misunderstandings and potential miscarriages of justice.
The judge's decision to exclude terms like psychopath and sociopath from the prosecution's vocabulary is noteworthy. Such labels are not only prejudicial but also demonstrate a lack of understanding of neurological conditions.
How do societal perceptions of autism impact legal outcomes? How can jurors be educated about neurodiversity, such as autism?
Studies have shown that people with autism are more likely to have encounters with law enforcement and face misunderstandings due to their behavior. Yet, the system remains ill-equipped to handle such nuances. Shouldn't there be mandatory training for legal professionals on neurological conditions? How can jurors be better educated to distinguish between behavioral symptoms of autism and signs of deceit or guilt? How many other individuals with autism have been misjudged by a system that fails to understand them?
So, to our viewers, we leave you with some important questions. Are we witnessing a miscarriage of justice rooted in ignorance of neurodiversity? How does stress impact someone with autism in high-pressure situations like trials? Should autism diagnoses be more prominently considered in legal cases? Ultimately, are we prepared to convict a man based on misunderstood behaviors that may be linked to his autism diagnosis? Or will we demand a more nuanced approach to justice? Just think, what if this happened to your loved one with a developmental disorder or cognitive impairment? How does the criminal justice system address such scenarios? Here's something to remember. If you've ever met one person with autism, you've only met one person with autism. Why? Because no two people with autism are the same. It's a spectrum. You know, it's in its name. Autism spectrum disorder. Did Brian pursue his PhD in Washington State as a step toward gaining his independence? He completed his master's degree and felt prepared to embark on life independently, aspiring to achieve the autonomy that many other adults with autism seek. The drive back home with his dad likely provided Brian with the support he needed for such a lengthy journey. There are numerous ways to accommodate individuals with autism to help them meet their needs as they strive for independence. This video is intended solely for educational purposes, and we hope you gained insights about autism and neurodiversity. Brian Kohberger is encountering numerous challenges in this case, and raising awareness is crucial. Given Brian's age, he likely did not receive the comprehensive support that children with autism have been provided over the past 2 decades. Awareness of autism has significantly increased, along with the rate of diagnoses. Access to early intervention and other long-term support resources can lead to positive outcomes for individuals with autism. Consequently, the characteristics of autism in older adults may present differently. Brian's passion for criminology could be linked to his autism, suggesting he may possess a deep understanding of the field. Let us continue to seek justice for Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Xana. May justice prevail. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to drop a question or comment below. And if you enjoyed this content, consider subscribing.